demand and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Coming up, the threat of severe weather tonight is diminishing.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. We made it through the evening without any severe weather, but some isolated strong storms remain a possibility overnight. Let's check in with meteorologist Evan Hatter for the very latest. Evan?
Well, that's right, Steve. We passed through the entire evening. Some folks passed through the entire evening without a drop of rain. You know, it was one of those just hit or miss type deals out there, and even though our severe weather threat has diminished, we have been taken completely out of any severe weather threat this evening. That's an updated map. We were taken out of the threat about 9 o'clock, which was about the same time our severe thunderstorm watch was allowed to expire. No warnings issued inside our portion of the watch, though some folks in West Virginia, where the ingredients were better, had quite a few downpours out there and some severe weather. Still dealing with a few downpours now along 80 south of Prestonsburg, and perhaps the heaviest thunderstorm in the area right now, not far from downtown Salyersville, likely with some gusty winds and heavy rain, but no severe weather expected with that as that continues to work on through. Everything here continues to push off to the east and the southeast. A little bit more time to go. Some heavy rain with some of those, but we'll continue to watch those diminish. Still hot and humid out there, upper 70s to near 80 even at this hour. Your forecast first overnight will drop those temperatures only into the upper 60s. Steve, I'll have the details on a dry day tomorrow and when some showers and storms could return in a few minutes.
All right, appears we looked out tonight. Thank you very much, Evan. Well, as you see here, a line of storms did pack a punch in northeastern Kentucky and parts of West Virginia, as Evan mentioned. This video is from a porch camera in Lewis County. As you can see, very heavy rain caused some minor street flooding there. Scattered power outages and downed trees were also reported in those areas. Remember, you can always stay weather aware with the WYMT First Alert Weather app. Just scan this QR code to download or get it in the App Store. It will give you the latest weather alerts and live radar, even if you lose power. A traffic alert tonight if you are headed south into Tennessee on Interstate 75. Transportation officials say I-75 South is closed at mile marker 135 in Campbell County. A crash involved 3 commercial vehicles and is being called a hazmat situation. It's not known if anyone was hurt, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more on WYMT.com. The death of Amber Spradlin has troopers with Kentucky State Police investigating a murder as the community begs for answers. With rumors and false information pouring through the community, officials say tips have been pouring in, but those working the case say not every tip has been rooted in truth. Investigators and family members say they understand the desire for answers, but they also say going after every false lead is costing precious hours.
While we appreciate that and we appreciate your support, because behind all of those theories, that's truly what I think people are trying to give is their support and their love to us. But we would just urge them to wait until there's statements made that are factual and use the facts to kind of go forward.
The family says they are confident in the investigators and hope to see answers coming soon. A coach for 40 years in the Hazard Independent School System has died. Wade Linden died yesterday at the age of 66. Linden was a star player at Hazard and was part of the first team to play on Daniel Field. He later helped coach football and baseball. He was also an Army veteran and served in various roles at the Eastern Kentucky Veterans Center in Hazard for 22 years. His visitation will be Monday, July 17th from 11 a.m. until a memorial service at 1 p.m. at Maggard's Mountain View Chapel. Today, people said their final goodbyes to a well-known Southern Kentucky couple. Lewis Catron and his wife Carol died Friday from accidental carbon monoxide poisoning. The Pulaski County Sheriff says they left their truck running in the garage. Lewis's brother was Sam Catron. He was the Pulaski County Sheriff that was murdered in April of 2002. We still do not know who Republican candidate for Governor Daniel Cameron's running mate will be, but we now know it will not be Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles. Quarles ran second in the Republican primary, and many have speculated he would be a logical running mate for Cameron. But during an interview today with our sister station WKYT, Quarles made it clear being lieutenant governor is not his interest right now. Quarles, who holds a doctorate, says his passion is in education and he'll be looking for an opportunity in that area. One Letcher County couple that survived the flood nearly 1 year ago is now in a new home at no cost, built by the nonprofit God's Pit Crew. Laverne and Shelby Fields, alongside family and volunteers, gathered for a prayer and official handing off of the house key today. Laverne Fields says the work that God's Pit Crew did for them was a huge relief.
They have, because, I mean, if they hadn't have got this home for us, it might have took us a while to got another home, and probably we'd died before we got it paid off.
Laverne Fields added they are a family that continues pushing forward through every battle. The FDA has approved the first non-prescription daily oral contraceptive. The FDA says this provides an option for people to purchase the oral contraceptive over the counter. This comes after a battle in the state over abortion. Julia Sandor spoke to one organization that shares the effect this could have on Kentuckians.
Anytime we reduce a barrier to birth control, it's a win.
Kentucky's Planned Parenthood Alliance Advocates Director Tamara Weeder says the FDA's approval of over-the-counter oral contraceptives is a stepping stone.
While birth control is really one of the best ways to reduce unintended and unplanned pregnancies, it's not 100%.
According to the FDA, half of the 6.1 million pregnancies in the country are unintended. Weeder says Opill could change those statistics. The trigger law that took effect in Kentucky more than a year ago made near all abortions illegal in the state, the only exceptions being to save the mother's life or prevent disabling injury. Weeder says she hopes the contraceptive remains over the counter.
There can be intimidation factors if it's behind the pharmacist's counter. I know that in some rural communities, when everybody knows who you are, that can be a barrier to accessing reproductive health care.
She says 73 counties in the state do not have OBGYNs. So even though you won't need a prescription for Opill, she recommends you still see a doctor for yearly examinations.
And so my hope is that people still go get those examinations because they're life-saving.
And Weeder adds that educating yourself and knowing your own body is important because understanding will allow for safe and efficient use.
And I think as we find ways to make birth control more accessible and more available, we will see unintended pregnancy numbers go down. That's the hope.
In Lexington, Julia Sandor, WKYT.
The availability of Opill will be determined by the manufacturer. There is no timeline for when it will be in stores. Several counties in our region have some of the highest cancer rates in Kentucky. The Lexington Herald-Leader shared rankings compiled by Stacker and data from the CDC. Floyd County had the second highest rate in the state. Owsley County came in 5th and Lee County was 6th. Those are the eastern Kentucky counties in the top 10. Experts say factors like genetics, habits, pollution, and groundwater can affect cancer rates. Nearly 5 million children in 8 states could lose some extra funds for food unless their state officials sign up for a federal relief program by tomorrow. The PEBT is providing $120 during the summer to families whose kids qualify for free or reduced price meals or attend schools in low-income areas where all students get free meals. The vast majority of states are participating in the program this summer, including Kentucky. During the past few years, more young people have ended up in the hospital due to marijuana use. That's the finding of a new study by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Researchers found that from 2019 to 2022, cannabis-related emergency department visits increased overall among kids, teens, and young adults. Researchers also noted large increases in cannabis-related emergency department visits among kids less than 10 years old. The COVID-19 pandemic may have played a role in the increase. 2 passengers and 2 flight attendants were hurt after a plane plunged nearly a mile during severe turbulence while flying from North Carolina to Florida. Allegiant Air says its flight was traveling from Asheville to St. Pete Clearwater International Airport, where it landed normally and taxied to the gate under its own power. The plane was carrying 179 passengers and 6 crew members. A flight tracking website says the plane dropped about 5,000 feet in less than 2 minutes. Allegiant says airport paramedics met the plane to assess the 4 injured, and they were taken to a nearby hospital. Mountain View Wildlife Rehabilitation has been operating in Perry County for nearly 8 years. Owner Beth Vaughn says she felt called to defend and take care of wildlife in the area. Vaughn says this year they have already taken in more than 60 deer and 90 possums, saying assistance is always needed.
Each deer individually will run us about $900 to raise. You know, you've got your squirrels and your possums, which are between $300 and $600. So, you know, if people just send us a bag of food, or, you know, it doesn't have to be monetary. We do have an Amazon wish list. We have things that people can pick from and, you know, kind of send us, which is a huge, huge help.
Vaughn says they are currently nursing 18 deer, 6 possums, 4 bunnies, and a turtle. For information on how to help, just find this story on WYMT.com. A Kentucky man found a coin collection worth millions of dollars buried in a cornfield. The stash included more than 700 rare U.S. gold coins dated from 1840 to 1862. The value is estimated to be more than $2 million. Experts believe someone might have buried the money to hide it from the Confederate Army.
If you had a lot of money, historically you buried it. Banks were good. They robbed the banks. You had to find a place that was secure, and most times throughout history, people bury money.
The man's name and location of the cornfield are not public. We also do not know how he stumbled upon the stash. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, a Kentucky advocate for veterans who were exposed to toxic water now needs help himself. What he's dealing with now.
But first, severe storm chances ending, but we're not done with the storm chances in the 7-day. Details on that ahead.
It is time to upgrade, and Appalachian Wireless has an unbeatable offer for you for a limited time only.